Hello, everybody. C. Ray Brower here with Linda Welk today. And coming up next, we're going to talk about all kinds of things financial and what's been going on in her world. And that is coming up next. And we're back. Hey, Linda, how's it going?
Good. How are you, C. Ray?
Just another day in real estate paradise. Having been a good time since I got back from Kansas, so I can't complain.
Way to do it.
Yeah. How about you?
I've been good. Just tired of the rain. I know. Probably a lot of people are. I want to look out the window and see that sunshine beaming in. Not the big drops all over, but everything's good. The world is moving along. It's busy.
Good. That's wonderful to hear. Wonderful to hear. So what has happened since the last time we sat down and talked? Has there been anything exciting in your life?
You mean other than all the rain?
Well, yeah, I missed out on that. I was in the cold.
Right. You're right. Like where my son is, he's back up in the cold, but in the Nevada cold with tons of snow, which I guess is, keeping people locked into their cabins that they just went up for the weekend to visit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember who I was talking to. I think it's his son or nephew one works at one of the ski resorts up Highway 4.
Mm-hmm.
And his son took a picture of his buddy standing in the snow, leaning on the rollers for the chairlift. The chairlifts were under the snow.
That's crazy. Usually you're dangling and your legs are way above the snow.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. But they have ski lifts that they can't use because the snow's too deep.
Oh. Well, in the long run, it's a good thing. In the short run, at least they've been spread out enough lately that I don't know if I haven't heard, though, maybe the news is telling me and I'm not listening, that the flooding is not as bad. The things are spread out enough that the water's absorbing and moving off. So fortunately, they
right now.
Right.
We're complaining about the rain and wanting the sunshine, and when the sunshine comes and there's snow that's up to the top of the chairlifts,
more.
It's coming down. It's coming down.
Moderation. If it can just, do it moderately, just slow it down.
Melt slowly.
Let it out. The sun. Let it be partly cloudy.
Yeah.
Kind of could cruise on through. No more disasters. No more people hurt. In bad predicaments. So that's my goal for everybody, or my wish, I would say.
Our wish for everybody. There you go. There you go. Yeah. For certain.
Yeah.
So what do you think about our whole financial situation with the whole inflation and interest rates and all of that?
As a human being, it's really tough to be a human being, a person in this environment, as we all are. It's tough to navigate. It's which way do we turn? Do we just do we just move on? Do we take this opportunity? And as everyone says, like with John, and you all say, John King, we can't predict the future. We can't see what's coming. We can do what's right in our space, in our own space. Some have the options to spread their wings a little bit during this market and take advantage of some great things out there,
right,
which is wonderful. And some really need to tuck it in and stop. Just settle and don't do any spending. It just depends, on their situation. And
everybody's situation is definitely different.
It is.
And they have to look at that. One of the people I follow sent an email out last night, read it this morning, and talking about the economy and opportunities and problems. And he said that he was quoting somebody else that said, everything in life is like a balloon.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get hold of a balloon and it's contracting because you're squeezing one end of it, the other end it comes up. Mm. And that's where the opportunity is. And you need to look at that part of what's going on, mm-hmm. and realize that where you're at today is being squoze and creating a problem for you. Right. But with every problem, there's an opportunity.
Always.
And to surround ourselves with people, mm-hmm. that are looking for the opportunity and squeezing that balloon.
Right. Exactly. Exactly right.
Look here instead of here.
Right. That's being open-minded. That's being not just stuck in the same bubble. We'll say the balloon, but you're in this bubble, that you're not able to really look outside of that and see that there are a number of opportunities on all different levels.
Yeah.
And it's hard when you see people do get into that. I don't want to say despair. I'm sure some are, but when they get into that mode that there's no options in front of them as far as they see. However, if, like you're right, you surround yourself by people who are the ones that open their minds and share those open-minded thoughts with people, then things are going to come. They have to. Yeah. We're not meant to be stuck. Change is inevitable. We're meant to pivot, go with the flow, this way or that way, or up or down, whichever way. But there is opportunity everywhere if we can just settle down, talk to the right people.
Open your mind.
Yeah.
Open your mind.
You don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
It's, when there's a lot of money on the line, though, people are afraid. And we talk about the retirement savings and on that level, people are afraid. They're actually losing money, and if they see it, it's in front of them, and I think probably one of the hardest things to handle is the loss of money.
Yeah.
Because that's our life. I mean, that's what sustains us, that pays our bills, that helps us fuel our goals going forward. And when we get that money hit, it's a life sucker.
Right.
It really is.
It really is.
It doesn't mean it's over. It means pivot. Find other things. Settle down. Yeah. We've seen that a lot.
Yeah. In your industry, especially, in my industry, a lot also. I mean, everything's pulling back. And if you listen to the news, it's a buyer's market. But when you look at
I'm on that side of the buy. I'm a buyer's market person. I haven't pulled the trigger yet,
But it isn't a buyer's market. It's still a seller's market. Mm-hmm. Even though there's fewer buyers out there than there was 2 years ago, mm-hmm. We still have way less than 6 months of inventory. And 6 months of inventory is where we call it a balanced market. Okay. And we're at 2.5 months worth of inventory.
Okay.
Yes, interest rates are up. Yes, there's buyers that aren't buying because they got taken out of the market. Yes, there mm-hmm. are opportunities.
Right. For the right people in place. I mean, it's just really.
Yeah. So, and of course, we're not getting more inventory on the market. Why? Because sellers don't know where they're going to go buy. And if they're in a loan right now that's a 3% loan, it's hard to justify in their mind that they're going to sell that house and reap the rewards of their equity and go get a 7% loan.
Exactly. That doesn't, pencil out really for a lot of people. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we're going to be in a seller's market for a while, personally. Mm-hmm. I look at that as opportunity instead of.
Seller's right.
Yeah.
Right. It's always going to be that teeter-totter, right? There's always. Yeah. It's been a seller's market for a long time now. So where's that flipping the switch here?
Yeah, it's been. I think the statistic is since 2012.
Mhm.
We came out of the bubble burst, and of course we have talked about that before, and I've brought it up many times with many people. The bubble burst was not because the price of houses was too high. The bubble burst was because buyers were out buying houses in a buyer's market as if it was a seller's market, because it was so easy to get money. You didn't even have to have a job. You just had to say you made money, and they'd sell you a house. And you didn't even have to pay all of the interest. Negative amortization loans were constantly being done out there. I make $1 million a year. I want to buy that house, but I only pay $1,500 a month. Well, the interest is $2,500 a month. So, but we'll write that loan.
Right.
You understand that you're. Yeah, but don't worry, because look how fast houses are going up. Don't worry, you're going to be able to sell it in a year, and you'll never have to pay that high payment.
Oh I know.
Oh my God.
I know. How do we, as not being in real estate, how do you navigate that as a buyer and or a seller?
Right.
You have the right people you go to.
Yeah.
The right people. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, with financial services, it's the opposite right now. It's crazy, but for different reasons.
What's that? What's the reason?
The reason is what people are experiencing on losses. They need to find a way to stop that bleeding and put their money in a place safely where they're not experiencing the downside of the market. If they're in the market, that they just experience a level or increase, no loss. And I think still a lot of people do not know about the different opportunities out there for that. And people are paying more attention to that when they're seeing the dips in their accounts. And even with this, the bank going out of business, now it's been picked up by the other bank, the bigger bank. I forgot the name. It's one of those things that the FDIC insures 250,000 in accounts. People need to understand 250,000 is what they're insured for. And if there's a lot of companies, businesses that I work with that have millions in account, what it's going to happen if it's with a smaller bank? It's just paying attention to those kind of things and moving your money where it needs to go safely. Stability, but keeping it safe. And I think it's fortunately, there are people out there that help, like us, help people. And unfortunately, there are people who really do not realize. I mean, it truly has to have someone tell them that there are things out there, because they're not being given that information on the television, things like that. So, there's ways not to be suffering with how they're suffering. It's just education.
Yeah, education. Exactly. Go out and seek information, and you can find it. And don't keep listening to the rhetoric.
Or listen to something, go to trusted friends, talk to people, ask around, and just find some things that if you're hurting and you have a situation and you want to change it, it's not working, reach out. Just reach out to trusted people and ask around. There's help out there. Just knowledge on what can you do with things that you have in place. How can you stop that bleeding? They just need to be able to reach out.
Yeah. And that's, the Silicon Bank was the first one to fall. And I know there's been some others that have fallen. And, it's blamed upon the inflation and what have you. But really and truly, yes, that's part of it. But the biggest thing is those banks that are failing had lots and lots of people with those giant accounts.
Right.
And when the market changed, those people with the giant accounts said, I need to get my money out of the bank and put it into something different. When they took it out of the bank and put it into something different, the bank didn't have the funds to be able to continue to give out that money, because I'm sure but most people don't realize that for every dollar that the bank takes in as a deposit, they can loan out 10.
I know. We're putting our money in the bank and they're loaning it out and making a ton of money off of what they're loaning out of our own, even to ourselves. They're giving us loans back at what the interest rate is, right? Compared to what we're getting scraps, not even, not even a percent in an interest-bearing account. And yet they're making, and that's banking. That's just the way it is. That's how they operate. And when people learn that also, and where would you want to keep your money? Where in the bank, or where the banks keep their money? You want to keep your money where the banks keep their money, for sure. Move it.
Move it into that. Yeah.
General population keeps the money in the bank. They don't know any different.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so that's what we were taught when we were kids, right? Go out, get a job, earn some money, get a savings account. Yep. Start, get your pension plan, put your money into your IRA, put your money.
Keep it in the bank.
Yep.
Yep. It's accessible. Yep. We need banks. We have to have banks. We need our money accessible, a bit of it. We don't need our big money that's meant for our retirement in a bank. That's just does not make sense. And I pulled up something. Our company is working, and it's not launched until tomorrow, the 1st, April 1st. On this campaign to find out how the general population feels about the financial industry, on how they feel about their finances. And it's called an FIQ. We were checking everyone's, and it's a massive project on everyone's feeling on how they are feeling about their financial IQ. What do they know about different topics that affect their world, their home, their family? And the preliminary information we've received so far, but it's going to be announced and opened up now for public view on the 1st, is so sad.
Wow.
So sad how individuals, families do not understand what to do with their money, how to make it last, and how to save even anymore. Right. So I pulled up this one page that I always like to reference on, and I'm reading over here because it's over here. I could always put it up on the screen, but it's financial changes or challenges of most households. And what they're listing is, everybody can identify. Most people live with too much debt, have little or no life insurance protection, have too little or no savings at all, and do not have a clear understanding of how much savings is enough. Like, enough for what? Enough for some, your 6 months plan you have to have in case of emergency, your emergency fund, or when you are retired, or what if you're disabled and they don't understand. They don't make enough money to cover their expenses and are not sure how to fix the issues. This is standard. They just don't understand. And with the other side of it, true financial, and I wish I could show you this. I could share the screen, but it's okay. If it's okay, if I can share it. Or I can just share it with the words if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine with me.
It talks about true financial independence means to save more and spend less. Live within your means. Is that the United States? I don't know. Loved ones, you should. Should the worst case scenario occur. Reduce and eliminate debt. That's a big deal. I mean, our country is debt ridden.
Right.
It's debt ridden. Upside down. Have sufficient funds to cover expenses for at least 6 months. And if you think about that, let's say a person, and this is daunting for someone to think about. If you're supposed to have 6 months savings for emergency's sake, that person, let's just say 5,000, they make 5,000 a month. So that means they're going to have 30,000 in the bank just for their, how that freaks people out. Yeah. They can't even imagine having $1,000 saved in the bank. Right. So, we need to turn this back right side up because it's upside down for way too long. Yeah. So that's, what we like to help with people, educate them and how they can help their own families get out of their debt, reach their financial goals and such like that.
Right on. Mm-hmm. And since you can't share it on the screen Well, no,
Yeah.
I was just going to suggest that it's scrolling down below. Anybody can call you and or
Oh,
email
yes.
you, and you could
Right.
send it to them, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it says, what is the result of living like this? This is where it really counts. This is where it really counts. What is the results of living like this? Stress and frustration. What does stress do to us? It's a massive, problem in our country, and negative
Mm-hmm.
impact on the family as a whole. The family is not a happy, cohesive family when they have all of these stresses, as we know.
Right.
You see it all the time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
There's ways out. Just have to be able to be open enough to talk about it.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we are trained to keep those feelings to ourselves, and
Right.
because we're keeping them to ourselves, it leads to more frustration, which leads to
Right.
more anger, which leads to dysfunction, and
Yes. It's a tailspin.
yeah,
It doesn't have
yeah,
to be. We're supposed to be a village. We're humans. We
right,
are meant to be in a village and help each other. And that's what our goal always is. So don't be afraid. You got to reach
yeah,
out. Reach out to people you
yeah.
trust. Reach out. Ask
Reach out
questions.
to somebody, some way,
Afraid to open
somehow.
yourself up. Yeah.
Yeah.
People do not like to talk about their finances. That's probably the top thing they don't like to talk about.
Right.
It's their finances, because they think they're doing worse than they are. And a lot of times they don't really see a way out. But honestly, there's always a way out. Always. They just have to be open.
Squeeze the balloon, the big part, the little part.
Always a way out.
Quit looking at what you're squeezing and look what came up here, right?
Exactly. Right. Get out of that box. The lid is closed, now opened. But people are afraid to talk about it. They do not want to disclose what they think is just horrible. But, we all have our stories.
Yeah.
We really do.
Yeah.
We've all been somewhere and had to deal with something. It's okay.
Yep.
Let it out.
We have all been down. Yes.
Yeah. Don't be afraid. Yeah. So that's why we're actually, we always do very well. And I hate to say it. And when the economy is not doing well, we always need to do well, because that's when people are fearful. And then they do get the guts and they reach out, but not enough are, meaning we've got a problem.
Right. Right.
As a country.
Right. Which is very common with your industry, any industry. You don't pay attention to anything until it's a problem. Right. I came from the automotive industry. I tell everybody says, you're so good at explaining things, and you understand, and you can sell. Well, I sold probably the hardest thing ever, and that's transmission repair, because they break down. They didn't take care of the car. They break down. The tow truck driver that picks them up, they call AAA. AAA guy shows up and says, my car did the same thing. All I did was change the filter and it fixed it.
They were always that easy, right?
So they show up at the shop with the information that they were given, that it just needs to have the filter changed, even though it doesn't move at all.
I'm not laughing at their sorrow. I'm sorry.
I know. I understand.
The thought of it. We're so easily led. It's okay. Yeah.
And so it was, I always had to make them understand in the simplest form possible what needed to be done, and why $30 wasn't going to fix it, or $50 wasn't going to fix it, and why they should spend, as they would say, I ain't spending no money on this POS.
Right.
It's not worth it. Really? So what are you going to do? Are you going to go buy a brand new car?
Right.
Well, no, I can't afford a brand new car.
Right.
So you're not going to spend $2,000 on a car that's worth $12,000 or $14,000. You're going to junk a $12,000 or $14,000 car that you still are making payments on, and you're going to roll that over into another used car. Now you owe $30,000 on a used car that has probably the same problem coming up shortly, because somebody else didn't pay attention to normal maintenance on the vehicle.
Right. Is that just tells you right there that lack of knowledge on money in general speaks right there to this same situation.
Yeah.
The lack of
Yeah.
how to handle money, the right thing to do with that situation for the long run is not educated in people. People do not understand that. And that's a
Right.
perfect example of the illiteracy. That's not a bad word. We just don't know. We don't know.
Right.
Financial education. It's across the board. It's not just financial services. It's across the board. It's money. How to work with money.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. It's a good example.
Yeah. It is. It is a really big deal. And
that's a great example on a level that we've all dealt with.
Right.
Who wants to spend on a repair of a car? Well, you just laid out a scenario that does not make sense.
Right.
Or then you do the other.
Right.
Right.
Right. Exactly. And then the people that came in that really understood, I'll never forget. We had this. It was beat to death. It was just an old Cadillac that oxidized paint. Just it was not worth fixing. In my opinion, it wasn't worth fixing. The guy wanted a transmission put in it, and one of my guys decided to push it off the rack by himself.
Oh no!
And he hooked the door on the post and kinked the door, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't come in and tell me. One of the other guys come in and told me. And I went out and I looked at it and I went and got him and I brought him over and I said, "What's this?" He said, "Well, it caught the thing." I said, "But you didn't come tell me." Why? He says, "Well, this POS ain't worth fixing anyway."
Uh-oh.
I said, you have to understand that this is a Cadillac, but every car that comes in here is somebody's Cadillac. Exactly. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter what it sounds like. It's their Cadillac.
Right.
Whether it's a Pinto or what, it's their Cadillac.
Right.
Well, I don't think so. And I said, well, then great. Why don't you go over to your toolbox?
Right.
And bring me your ball peen hammer.
Oh.
And he says, what? What do you want my ball peen hammer for? I says, because I'm going to go beat dents in that thing that you drove in here in this morning. Because I don't think it's worth anything. So you'll be okay if I beat dents in it, right?
I thought you were going to give him his walking papers, but that's good.
No, I kept him. He needed to be taught.
That's pretty good. See, great lesson. He could have just been canned right there on the spot.
Yep.
But no, you just taught him that lesson. Valuable lesson right there. Come on, everyone. Let's teach these lessons to help everyone. Come on. And
as it turned out, the guy, when he came to pick up his car, I brought him right out. I showed him what happened. And he goes, yeah, don't worry about it. I thought I was going to have to give away a free transmission. Yeah, don't worry about it. But he understood the value of money. Right. Understood that the car really wasn't worth what he was putting into it, but it was his Cadillac. That's how he got around. Right. So, yeah.
Right. And if he can handle that, he that's his choice. Yeah. And that's a great decision instead of why go out and buy another one.
Right.
He's happy. Be happy with what we have. We get a little money, we want to spend it. We get a little more money, we want to spend even more money, even more than we should, because we have it. But then where is it? It's not over there in that savings bucket.
It's in the fun bucket.
It's in the fun bucket. How is it the fun bucket? Come on. we can manage. We can have fun. Just manage it. Manage to have fun for a lot longer, people. That's it. Yeah.
There you go.
Good examples. Love it.
Linda, I so appreciate you coming on and imparting some of your knowledge and having a great time together. I look forward to being with you next week. Everybody, if you have any questions about finances, savings, insurance, cover insurance too? No.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Annuities, all that. Anything
annuities, all that. Get hold of Linda.
Behind us.
Phone number scrolling below. She does have that handout. Maybe we can get it on Dropbox or something and provide a link on the thing so they can click through and get it or reach out to you direct.
Okay. Great.
Perfect. Hey, thank you again so much.
Thanks, Mary.
Everybody, go out and be the sunshine in somebody's rainy day. And of course, remember C-Ray to find your perfect home. We'll talk to you all again real soon. Thank you again, Linda.